Buddies. This is Cinderella and I'm your Gani Buddy for today.
Today I am going to discuss about pupillary light reflex and its abnormalities. Before learning its abnormalities, we can memorize what do you mean by pupillary light reflex pathway. When light is reaching onto the retina, it goes via the optic nerve reaching the optic chiasma, but instead of crossing onto the opposite side, it travels via the temporal side and reaches the optic tract. Instead of going to the lateral geniculate body, it goes to the pretectal nucleus, and pretectal nucleus is considered to be the center for reflex. And from here, via the association neurons, or what you call as the internuncial neurons, it goes to the ipsilateral Edinger-Westphal nucleus by curling around the periaqueductal gray matter, as well as it reaches the contralateral Edinger-Westphal nucleus via the posterior commissure, and then it travels along the oculomotor nerve reaching the ciliary ganglion and innervating the sphincter pupillae muscles by the short ciliary nerves. And this can cause direct light reflex of the ipsilateral eye as well as consensual light reflex of the contralateral eye. Moving on to the abnormalities, we can basically classify this into two types: afferent pathway defects as well as efferent pathway defects. Afferent pathway defects consist of AAPD, RAPD as well as Wernicke's hemianopic pupil. Efferent consists of ARP, Adie's pupil as well as pharmacological mydriasis. Moving on to the first defect, that is absolute afferent pathway defect or total afferent pathway defect, or otherwise called as amerotic pupil. Here what is the lesion? Since it is absolute, so there is a complete optic nerve lesion that is happening. Here you can see that the optic nerve is lesioned. So what happens? Both the direct light reflex as well as the consensual light reflex, both of that particular eye is absent. Next is Marcus Gunn pupil, or what you call as relative afferent pathway defect. As the word relative suggests, the optic nerve is not completely damaged, but it is partially functioning. The diseases which cause this defect is optic neuritis, retinal detachment, and CRAO, that is called as central retinal artery occlusion as well as central retinal vein occlusion. To test for RAPD, we can use swinging flashlight test. Swinging flashlight test, we will be swinging the torch from one eye to the other, that is from right to left and back from left to right. This is done in order to make the affected eye, that is the right eye optic nerve, to be fatigued. I already said that the optic nerve is partially functioning. So in order to make that partially functioning optic nerve fatigued, we will be swinging the torchlight, and we can see after this fatigueness happens, the affected pupil will become dilated. When we are showing light, that pupil will become dilated. Here you can see that when the torchlight is shown onto the affected eye will become dilated, and when it is being shown onto the normal side, it will become constricted. Dilated, constricted. But why does the pupil dilate? This is because the impulse for meiosis is weaker than the dilatation. So we can see a dilating pupil. This phenomenon is referred to as paradoxical dilatation, or what you call as pupillary escape phenomenon. Next, Wernicke's hemianopic pupil, resulting in left homonymous hemianopia due to a lesion in the optic tract due to tubercular meningitis, syphilitic meningitis as well as PC aneurysms. When light is being thrown onto the blind half of any side, there is no pupil constriction, and if light is thrown onto the side where vision is present, both the pupil constricts. Moving on to the efferent pathway defect, the most important one is the ARP or Argyll-Robertson pupil. The most common cause is neurosyphilis. Other causes are tabes dorsalis as well as aortic regurgitation. The site of lesion of this condition is the rostral midbrain. In this defect, as you can clearly see in this diagram, there is a defect in the posterior commissural fibers as well as the aqueduct of Sylvius. So what happens? Bilateral condition. So here the impulse is not being traveled to the Edinger-Westphal nucleus. So there is no light reflex of both the eyes. Light reflex is totally absent. As you can clearly see in this video, when light is shown to one pupil as well as the other pupil, there is no constriction of the pupil. The pupils are not reacting to the light. But on near reflex is being tested, you can see that there is constriction of pupil. When you're writing Argyll-Robertson pupil like ARP, remember accommodation reflex present, ARP. And when you're writing PRA, that is the reverse of the ARP, we can remember pupillary reflex absent. In Argyll-Robertson pupil, we know that it does not react to light, but even though they do not react to light, they are normally seen to be constricted. But why? We know in the rostral midbrain, there are some supranuclear inhibitory fibers which will inhibit the Edinger-Westphal nucleus so that the parasympathetic impulses are getting suppressed. Since this rostral midbrain lesion is present, the Edinger-Westphal nucleus will get excited and it keeps on releasing the parasympathetic impulses to the sphincter pupillae muscles so that the pupil will always be constricted otherwise. And these pupils won't dilate in the dark. Next is tonic pupil or Adie's pupil. In this defect, there is a defect in the ciliary ganglion or in the short ciliary nerves which supply the pupillary sphincter muscle. So what happens? The pupillary sphincter muscle is unable to constrict when light is shown onto that particular side. So here, the right side, there will be no light reflex that is being present. That is, there is no constriction of this affected site. The main cause of this defect is because of some viral fever which can lead to HSV ganglionitis or because of some diabetic autonomic neuropathy. Here you can clearly see that when torch light is shown onto the affected right eye, there is no constriction of the pupil as such. This is because of the defect in the ciliary ganglion or the short ciliary nerves. But you can clearly see that on performing near reflex test, both the pupils constrict. Like Adie's pupil, there is a test called Adie's test where we will be using pilocarpine 0.125% and this is a diluted pilocarpine. On seeing a dilated pupil, when we use a weak pilocarpine and if it is causing constriction of the pupil, this is because of denervation hypersensitivity seen in the case of Adie's tonic pupil. But if there is no response and the pupil remains dilated and we have to use strong pilocarpine and it can cause constriction of the pupil, then we have to think it as a cranial nerve third palsy. But if there is no response even after adding strong pilocarpine, then this is caused because of a muscarinic antagonist addition, that is atropine usage. Next is pharmacological mydriasis, and this happens because of the addition of atropine to the pupil and it causes dilatation of the pupil. Suppose if right pupil is dilated, it will not constrict to light also. The difference between tonic pupil as well as pharmacological mydriasis is that in tonic pupil, the near reflex is present but light reflex is absent. In the case of pharmacological mydriasis, both near reflex as well as light reflex, it is absent. Next, we will be discussing about Hutchinson's pupil. This pupil is seen in the case of cerebral compression due to extradural hemorrhage. It mainly consists of 3 stages. First stage is pupil of the side of injury contract due to irritation of oculomotor nerve. Pupil on the other side remains normal. Second stage, pupil of the injured side becomes dilated due to paralysis of the oculomotor nerve. This is because of the extradural hemorrhage compressing the oculomotor nerve. The pupil of the other side contracts due to the irritation of that particular nerve. Lastly, the pupils of both sides will become dilated and there is no reaction to light because of bilateral paralysis of the oculomotor nerve. I will be summarizing the entire pupillary light reflex pathway defects in one slide. So if there is a lesion in the optic nerve, then it can lead to AAPD or RAPD. If optic tract is involved, Wernicke's hemianopia. And if the association neurons are damaged, it can lead to Argyll-Robertson pupil. Or if the ciliary ganglion or short ciliary nerves are involved, it can lead to Adie's pupil. And if there can also be pharmacological mydriasis. I hope that you have all understood my presentation. Thank you.